If I could come to you firstly, Erin, and let's talk a little bit about the current market as we see it. Are you feeling a shift in the volume of interest, either in website activity or via more actual contact with customers or agents? And do you feel things are restarting?
Absolutely, April. Yes, we do. And in fact, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen an incremental growth week on week in inquiries and actually in bookings too. We've seen the short haul market pick up, so certainly bookings for Greece and Spain. And I think people are being buoyed by this whole air bridge hope that we're going to be having in the next couple of days, hopefully, fingers crossed. And also for some long haul destinations. So we've seen some real interest in the Maldives and in Mauritius, which is brilliant. And I think people are thinking if they can't travel now, then they will travel certainly kind of Q1 21. So that's where we've seen inquiries come in.
Excellent. Okay. And Richard, would you say it was a similar kind of scenario for you, or do you feel things are restarting? What's the sort of the word you're getting and the feeling from home workers for Holidaysplease?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd echo very much what Erin has just said. We've seen a definite increase in activity, through June. Whether that's people out there looking. Obviously, we generate inquiries via our website, so we've actually generated about 7% more inquiries so far this June than we did last June. So the interest is there. There's been more lookers than bookers, so the conversion rates have been perhaps a little bit lower, but the team have worked really hard on the new inquiries that have been coming through, and we've seen a decent level of sales coming through during the month, particularly to those destinations that Erin mentioned. Indian Ocean has been really strong for us. About 30% of that new business is Maldives and Mauritius, which is really good to see.
Well, I'm sure when Arvind gets here, we can tell him that about Mauritius. I'm sure he'll be thrilled. We did a luxury agent survey ourselves, actually, in the magazine, and we found really high percentage of people said it was beach only, as if people were perhaps that was the first tentative step they were going to make was beach. Do you feel that's the same for you? People are a little bit safer in their choice rather than being too adventurous or off the beaten track, things like that, Richard?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely been finding that it's the stuff that we've been selling, which is the new holidays, for generally for next year, is beach orientated. So point to point, go to a nice hotel, stay there, relax, chill, come home again. Nothing too complicated.
Yeah, Erin, you're nodding there. Is that the same sort of thing that you're feeling?
Oh, absolutely. And we did a customer survey actually 2 weeks ago, and this was one of the questions, and it was overriding. 85% of the respondents definitely said what they were looking for was a holiday where they could go, to Richard's point to point, just relax, be safe in the knowledge that the property they're going to has the measures in place to assure their safety when they're there, and just kind of get away from the four walls that they've been stuck in for the last 12 weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure we all feel that. Filip, now I'll move on to you. If you can just briefly explain what Forbes Travel Guide does, and then give us an idea and some examples of some of the broader measures that you have been hearing five-star hotels have been putting in place.
Well, first of all, Forbes Travel Guide verifies luxury. That's what we do. Why do we do that? It's to champion, to support and to celebrate all those with a passion for extraordinary service. That's in one line what we do at Forbes Travel Guide. So how are things going? I second everything that the other panelists have just said. We obviously see that resort hotels are picking up a lot faster than business hotels for obvious reasons. We all know that this is a trust crisis and not a financial crisis at this stage. So obviously it is the common goal of the whole industry to restore trust and confidence in travel. I also feel that hotels, travel advisors, tour operators, airlines, DMCs, and all of those in our business that have invested over the years in their service culture are the winners now. Travelers, I feel strongly, and we've seen that already, will initially want to go back to familiar hotels and providers who have given them memorable and fantastic experiences in the past. Because they feel they trust these people, they trust these properties to do the right thing, to welcome them with open arms and to keep them safe.
Yeah.
I think hotel brands and independent hotels have done a fantastic job. They've been very proactive in publishing and implementing safety protocols for the guests and their employees. And this has certainly helped to improve customer confidence and trust. What we are seeing from reopening hotels is quite interesting. The first wave of high-end travelers seems to be more concerned about the safety during traveling itself rather than their safety at the hotels. So in principle, they trust the hotels to do the right thing.
Okay. We'll come back to talk about those measures in a lot more detail and how customers feel about all that. I just want to welcome Arvind, who is now here. Hello, if you can say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, good morning. Well, good afternoon to you in Mauritius.
Very good morning to all of you.
Sorry, we started without you, but I do have a very important question for you, which I'm sure lots of agents who are keen to book Mauritius for customers. Can you tell us what's the current status on the island in terms of visitor arrivals and reopening? And what are some of the main measures that have been put in place, perhaps, say, at the airport around that arrival experience for guests coming back to Mauritius?
Okay. Actually, at present, there's no case of COVID in Mauritius. Mauritius is COVID-free, but we have few imported cases because recently we have been repatriating stranded Mauritians from abroad, and we have had around 3 positive cases in this batch.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of airport and in terms of opening, I mean, we've slowly opened up the country. Business is back to normal, but the only thing that is not yet open is obviously the territory. I mean, right now, as from tomorrow, you would be able to travel to Rodrigues. So we will travel within the state of Mauritius. The Republic of Mauritius is possible, but we are looking at opening our borders gradually.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that we would start with regional by, I would say, by end of this month or beginning of August. And then we will extend to all our emerging tourism markets.
Okay.
In terms of protocol that have been decided, I mean, these are not official yet. I mean, obviously, you would have to do a test, a COVID test 72 hours before you board the plane. Upon arrival in Mauritius, you have a second test. Then off you go to your hotel or accommodation, whereby after 3-4 hours, you get a message by phone that you are COVID-free. Then you spend your time, you enjoy your holidays. But these are measures which are unofficial yet.
Okay.
The government, this is being handled by a committee chaired by the Prime Minister of Mauritius, who's personally overseeing this committee. And within I believe in another 15 days, we will be able to announce, the measures that have been put in place to welcome tourism in Mauritius.
Okay, so for the time being, we think that you'll have to have a test on arrival, and that will be something that an arrival guest will have to pay themselves, or how does that look like it might happen?
point is we haven't decided on the operational aspects yet, but all I can tell you officially is that there would be a laboratory at the airport whereby testing would be possible. They are already working on that. Equipment is already being sourced from abroad, and we are working in this direction.
Okay. And so it will be a couple of weeks before you think you have the official.
I believe we would be able to make an official announcement by 15th of July. Okay. And I believe by mid-August we would be able to open the destination.
Okay. Well, we heard earlier on, just before you arrived in the call from Holidaysplease and Sovereign, that they have been making Mauritius bookings for their clients further down the line, which is good news. Because of course, it's a destination people can travel to year round and can make those longer term bookings. So hopefully, everything will fall into place. But it's absolutely right that countries put in whatever measures they feel are right for them and the people on the island. But do you see a difference in how things will be done, perhaps say around beaches, tourist attractions? What will the sort of experience be like for people when once they've got through that stage and they're back on holiday in Mauritius?
No, actually, the mindset of the passenger has changed completely. There has been quite some demand. I mean, I would concur with what Richard just said. There has been quite a lot of demand on beach destinations. I feel it on all our markets, European markets, and you could see there's a certain urge for island destinations. And in this sense, Mauritius, Maldives, Seychelles tick the boxes. Mauritius has an advantage over all these destinations because we have been extremely successful in dealing with the COVID-19, and in the Indian Ocean, we have been one of the islands who has been cited by the World Health Organization for being outstanding in the measures that have been taken.
Yeah, that's really good. It's really reassuring.
Definitely what we see is that the passenger, the tourist, is more on a philosophy of rejuvenating, on unwavering, and where nature is at its best when he decides for his holiday. That's one of the direction that we wanted to go, that we went for.
Yeah, sure. And Filip, if I can bring you back in now to talk about potential fears that I think some agents have been feeling, that the experience will be kind of off-putting in a way, potentially, if staff are wearing masks and pools and kids clubs and things like that are not open. But do you think hotels can reassure people enough that the experience won't have changed for a luxury traveller?
Absolutely. I think we can totally trust hotels to have done the right thing, to have implemented the right protocols for safety. They're very good at that, by the way. And what I was saying earlier, it's surprising that guests in general that arrive at hotels seem to be more concerned about their safety on the plane, in the car, rather than at the hotel. There is, of course, a high degree of restlessness and eagerness to come out of lockdown and to start traveling and spoiling themselves again. And that creates a little challenge for the hotel management and the staff, because, of course, if you want exceptional service, then you want the employees to feel secure, confident, and safe themselves. So it's an important message also for travel advisors and for tour operators to give to their clients, is to please respect safety protocols in the hotels, because the staff is very worried about their own well-being in the first place.
So you feel there's a bit of a sense that when we go on holiday, we perhaps ourselves forget the protocols rather than the hotels and resorts who are hosting us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was on various webinars with airlines. I mean, for example, Delta Airline is doing an incredible job with their safety protocols. But we've all seen all the safety protocols that have been published by hotels, by the big brands, Hilton, Marriott, Accor, etc. We have seen very little of airlines, and we've seen very little of car rental companies. And to be honest, of DMCs as well. So I think it's time that they also come to the forefront and start publishing their safety protocols, because we're all in the same boat here. We all need to do our thing to restore confidence for the travelers.
Yeah, for sure. Erin, do you get the sense that your customers, either directly or via agents, are worried about these things? Are they saying, what's the experience going to be like? Will things be closed? What will it be like when I get there? Or is it not as much of a...
I mean, the calls that we're getting are more questions about the restaurants that might be open, the facilities that they might be able to use. They're less on the safety aspect of things. But what we've been doing for the past 4 weeks, and what we launched last Monday, was our Travel with Confidence promise and commitment. So we've been working really closely with our partners to really come to have a kind of hub of information on our website that really showcases, what our trusted partners are doing and what to expect when you're there. And our sales teams that are working have been briefed into answering those questions. But there certainly hasn't been the concern. Back to the survey that we did a couple of weeks ago, I think what the biggest thing was, are we going to be able to have that holiday experience in the way that we know it? And the answer to that is we're collating all that information, and we'll be able to give it to you property by property as you call in, and depending on the destinations that you go. So our internal teams are well versed on that. But it's not about the safety and am I going to get COVID, although that is there and ready and waiting and the information's there. So it's about that confidence piece to reassure.
Yeah, okay. Richard, same for you. Do you get the sense that customers are asking a lot of questions around these things? Is it stopping them making a booking because they're worried about the holiday experience itself being less than it used to be?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's a personal thing, isn't it, April? And I think, within the trade, we have our own kind of thoughts about how safe we feel going out and about, going down to the shops, or whether we feel confident doing that. And I think the way we talk about travel, is the same. It's making us feel, well, do we feel confident selling a product? So following up on what Filip was saying there about, customers, wanting to go back to somewhere that they've had a fantastic experience before, I think, travel agents, are looking to rely upon those tour operator partners that they know and trust really well, particularly those that have looked after their customers through the crisis, and are recommending hotels and resorts that they know well personally, or their clients know well personally. So you're probably looking to recommend and sell holidays to, places that your customers and you as a travel agent feel comfortable and confident about yourself. I think there are clearly some customers that are, not comfortable thinking about kind of, traveling at the moment. And as an industry, we absolutely have to respect that. And at the same time, those customers that are looking to travel, whether it's kind of the back end of this year or into next year, we need to have the knowledge to be able to reassure them properly, to sell the holiday properly, to have all the information. And I think, the independent travel sector and the independent tour operator sector is fantastically positioned to be able to deliver that.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to take this opportunity to stick a poll in the flow of proceedings here. I'm going to put a poll up. The question is, are your clients worried about the in-resort experience when they get there? And if you go into the poll section, my colleague Naomi will post the poll there, and we'll ask you that question. And the answers are no, they just want to get on holiday. Yes, they have concerns, but will travel anyway. And yes, they won't travel because of these concerns. So if you can take a little look in the poll section and have a look at that, and we will be able to see how you're all voting on that as we go along. Back to Arvind now, in terms of what's happening in Mauritius. Each country no doubt going to put in place specific things that they suggest or mandate that hotels do. Have you been mandating certain things in hotels that people have to do, that the hotel operators have to do? Or are they following their own sensible set of measures for guests and staff safety? What are you seeing in Mauritius when it comes to that hotel side of things?
No, actually, what we've done in Mauritius is that we've been partnering with the World Travel Tourism Council, and they enacted a series of measures and protocols listed so that you could register the destination as a safe travel destination. So we are among the first destination of being awarded the safe travel status by the WTTC. So all hotels, I would say, all tourism actors in Mauritius have to register themselves through, it's an app, a mobile app, which is devised by the tourism authority. They just have to fill in the list of protocols that have been listed and make sure they respect them. And then they have the safe travel status. And this is being followed by the tourism authority, who's the regulator who regulates the industry.
Right. Okay. So they are following specific rules set out centrally, but I'm sure others will be enhancing it in some ways where they feel it's necessary. And you have you had much feeling on whether that's been a difficult thing for hotels to implement? I mean, obviously, in Mauritius, lots of hotels are very open air, so there's lots of open spaces in terms of dining and things like that. Do you think hotels are coping well with putting measures in place in Mauritius?
Point is, I think we should be realistic about something. Once we open up the destination, there won't be, I mean, we won't expect to have, 1.4 million tourists every year. I mean, this is going to be gradual, but in the same sense, it's going to be very beneficial for all of us, because the protocols that have to be established, that have to be respected, and gradually when we do that, and it would pave the way, towards the service excellence that we want to achieve. This is one thing about it. Yes, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be tedious, but I think Mauritius is known for this hospitality industry, and I think we've got a really good industry, and we will bounce back. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I see a lot of efforts being done by a lot of partners, and
yeah, okay. And Arvind, just to check, I understand you had to leave for a meeting. Is that right? Are you leaving us now?
I'll have to leave in another 10 minutes, actually.
10 minutes, okay. I'm just going to move on to talk about how these measures could be communicated. Some people have opted for making kind of videos, if you like, that show what measures have been put in place into hotels. Others are opting for more discreet kind of messaging. What do you think, in terms of perhaps even on the Mauritius Tourist Board's own site, how are you communicating what's happening is it a very obvious way, or is it in a kind of a, more discreet way? Because you don't want to put people off by saying, here's all these things, but people do need to know what's happening. What do you think is the best way of communicating?
No, actually, once all these measures, sanitary measures, are official, it will be communicated by the tourism authority, who's the regulator, okay, who regulates the industry. And obviously, I mean, we would be communicating through our channels, our websites, and also through our different public relations executives working for us abroad on all our key markets. I mean, and then obviously right now the trend is very digital and social media. We would be extremely active on that also. Actually, we would have to activate all channels of communications once we know exactly what we are doing.
Yeah, good to go. And Filip, what are you seeing from hotels that are sort of part of the Forbes family? Is it very different in terms of how they are communicating the protocols, the reassurances? Is it a small section on a website? Is it video? What are you seeing? What is the best way of communicating?
I think right now, I mean, the trend is more videos.
Yeah.
We've gone through a lot digitally during the confinement, and right now the trend is definitely videos.
Yeah, people have very short attention spans, I think, at the moment, anyway. Yeah. And Filip, what about amongst all the Forbes hotels? What do you think are some of the best ways of communicating things?
Yeah, I think they play on trust of the customer more than they are communicating. They know what they have done. They have communicated that to their travel advisors and to their partners. And also, I think we should be a little careful with over communicating when it comes to safety, because some of the videos I've seen are quite frightening, actually. And I don't want the guest to come to have the impression to walk into the lobby hotel and people are spraying him with chemicals. I've seen that too when they do that in rooms. So I think we need to be slightly careful with communicating. As I have already said, the initial feedback says that guests are not so concerned about the safety in the hotels. And I think we need to play more on providing an excellent experience for the guests despite of these safety protocols rather than the safety protocols themselves.
Yeah, okay. And Richard, do you go along with that in the sense that we need to tell people, but we don't need to make hotels look like hospitals in terms of the messages that are coming in? And also, second to that, there is such a volume of information now, which is great because everyone's telling us they're open and they're doing all these things. So I feel we're all being a little bit overwhelmed now with information. So what do you think in terms of how hotels can communicate effectively and helpfully for agents, and how can agents deal with all this information that's coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I think there has to be a certain level of reassurance. So there's a balance between, look, this is what we're doing as far as the hotels are concerned and the resorts. There has to be a reassurance, but at the same time, we have to present, the holiday for what it is, a holiday, in a fantastic destination, in lovely surroundings, being looked after as our customers always would be. So I think that's really, really important. As far as the volume of information coming in, absolutely, and it's very difficult as an agent that sells holidays all across the world, via various suppliers, to get a handle on all of that information. So I think, my advice to any agent is to obviously focus on, it's the old 80-20 rule. Who are, where's 80% of your business? Where are the 80% of your supply, those suppliers that are providing that business to the hotels, and really, really understand that product. I think it was really interesting, the interview, I watched it over the weekend, April, that you did with Jeffrey Kent last week. Yeah. And he was talking about how, the knowledge that, independent travel agents have, of particular destinations and what their customers really want, is absolutely key at this precise moment. And I think that's the thing. So, you can go out and find everything. Come on, if you're a resourceful travel agent, you can go out and get the information. But to be really on your game, you need to really understand the key elements of what you sell and what your customers really want. And that's what, independent travel agents, customers want from them right now. They want that knowledge, they want that reassurance, they want that explanation of what the experience is really going to be like. They don't want fluff, they don't want nonsense, they want facts. And if you can deliver that well, I think you can reassure your customers, and they will still want to travel. And we're certainly seeing that in the booking numbers that we're achieving and have done throughout the kind of crisis.
Yeah. Do you feel there's a difference perhaps in how family would be thinking. Somebody has just posted a question in the chat, and I'll mention it now in case Arvind leaves and doesn't get to answer it, because someone's asked about children having to wear face masks, perhaps when they're if they go on holiday in Mauritius, things like that, and our kids clubs going to be open in Mauritius. So, do you have any feedback, Arvind, on how the family experience might be looked at in resorts in Mauritius?
No, actually, within the resorts, I don't think that this would be a problem. But point is, in the plane, this would depend upon the protocol that are being these are subject to the protocol of the IATA. And then in resorts, I don't think so, because right now what is happening on the beaches and all, because you find people without masks and they're all swimming, you find risk of contaminating or being contaminated.
Yeah, that's a specific thing for Mauritius, isn't it? Because if you would have got that far, you would have gone through these tests that you're talking about. Filip, sorry, yeah. Would you have a feeling that it's a family different experience?
Yeah, I think in general, the safety issue, of course, is key to restore trust. But also, if hotels can present it in a lighthearted and humorous way, it makes all the difference, because it takes the tension out of the equation. And we have seen various hotels that have beautiful masks for children, for families, with teddy bears on them, with Ferrari cars on them. I mean, make it fun, right? I've seen hotels with masks where every mask has a big smile painted on it, where every amenity pack that they produce specially for the guest has funny little things in it, funny little slogans on them. I mean, that's what it's all about. Safety has to become cool, because safety is going to be with us for a long time. So let it be cool, make fun, and take the tension out of the equation. And I think that's very important.
Some good ideas there, I think, Erin. You must have a lot of family business coming through Sovereign. Do you think, A, they need more reassurance, and B, are there some fun ways that we can look at, improve?
I was just listening to Filip then, and I was just thinking about, the Virgin Atlantic safety videos, and, how they, back in the day made them lighthearted, and Air New Zealand, for example, with the Game of Thrones set, or, etc. So I think for us at Sovereign, it's about that end-to-end concierge service that Richard was talking about. And, we offer private transfers, so a family can go as a group. So it's very much to Filip's point about, the DMCs and everything that's around the hotel, not just about the hotel. But there are ways and means in which you can make that much safer. So lounges at an airport, for example, the private transfer experience, the check-in experience at the hotel. So, and things that can be done to reassure. And again, going back to our travel with confidence promise, those are the parts and those are the pillars that we're heroing on. So,
okay. And Richard, do you feel the same way, that there is, we can try and, as Filip said, safety is going to be around for a long time. So is there a way that we can try and make it more palatable, or more, it's not a humorous thing, but can we make it more acceptable and in terms of marketing maybe, or, how do you feel it can come across, we can do it well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a balancing act. I think, there is a sensitivity around, the whole situation, and you see it, pictures of people on the beach, and there's uproar, and yet there'll be other people who see that as acceptable. Those are the two extremes, obviously, and I think you have to, balance your marketing accordingly. I don't think you can go too left or too right. You've got to find, a happy, medium ground. I think at the moment, if we get, too kind of gung-ho about, come on, let's go, and it's all going to be fine, that's too far that way. I think the marketing is more about kind of, look, we're open. This is what we've done. and this is what you're going to experience. It's more of a reassurance message. But I think Filip, again, he's spot on. I love the messages this morning, Filip. And, the fun holidays are meant to be, fun after all. So, we should be looking to present those messages in a relaxed way. I think if we start coming out with great big long lists of protocols and boring stuff, I think, that's not going to do the job at all. We've got to make feel like, look, this is going to be a holiday, not kind of some kind of mission to Mars, and it's all going to be challenging and uncomfortable. And I think to a degree, I noticed the question from Cheryl, I think, about flying to Mauritius with masks, and I personally don't know the actual answer to that, so perhaps someone could post the answer on there, because I'd be interested. But I think people are willing to fly even a long way and be a little bit uncomfortable to be able to be in a resort for 10 days or 2 weeks and have a fantastic time. So I think, the traveling element, yes, I think we all need to accept there will be, some extra challenges around that, and it won't be, quite as lovely as sometimes kind of long haul, the long haul travel experience can be. But I feel that, people, when they understand what they've got to not go through, but what the experience is going to be, they're willing to kind of, go through that, to be able to experience the time that they'll have on holiday. That's certainly what we're finding anyway.
Yeah, if their desire to holiday is greater than the desire to stay at home and continue with this.
For those people that want to holiday, I mean, some people are just no. I mean, they don't even want to go on holiday in the UK at the moment.
Yeah, that's a personal thing, isn't it? If you were that way inclined, then of course that will spill over into your holiday desires as well. If you're generally still very nervous, of course you're not going to want to travel. And to that point about masks on airlines, I know it is all very different, but certainly feels like the major carriers, your Etihads, Emirates, those kind of guys are saying masks on board for all, and they themselves wearing masks and things. So I think it will just have to become a way of life when flying. For now, that's my own personal answer to that. Filip, I think we were talking a little bit earlier this morning, you and I, about new training modules you're sort of putting in place for travel advisors, which will help with this communication process, these conversations that potentially difficult conversations, potentially very positive conversations, but just trying to uplift people to have the right kind of conversations. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah. Training is a very, very important issue. I can't stress this enough in the hotels. I spoke the other day to a corporate member of Mandarin Oriental. The training they have implemented for their staff is unbelievable. Every possible sensitive information and every possible problem and challenge that could occur with the guest during this protocol, during these safety protocols and related to them, has been covered. Imagine, for example, most hotels are taking the temperatures of clients when they arrive. Imagine a client that tests positive for high temperature. How do you deal with that? It sounds like a very easy issue. It is not. How do you deal with it? How do you speak to them? Do you have a private area to deal with them? If you don't want to allow them in the hotel, where are they going to go? Are you going to give them assistance getting home? So that's only one of the possibilities. What we have done at Forbes Travel Guide, because we don't tell our hotels what to do, we are there to support them. So what we did, rather than creating another safety protocol, we created a Forbes Travel Guide Back to Work Best Practices Guide. And that is based on what we give to the hotels is service hints as to continue dealing with the situation and at the same time provide a fantastic guest experience. Mm-hmm. How to handle guests, especially in sensitive situations, how to enforce safety standards in sensitive situations, which is a big, big issue. And then at the same time, we created a Hospitality Strong series of 10 free training webinars And originally they were planned, they were focusing on furloughed and laid off employees in the hospitality business to keep them engaged and to keep them connected to their passion. And we've had an enormous response. So over 120,000 people in the hospitality industry went online to follow these webinars. And these webinars are about service, about delivering the experience, and using again the service hints that we put in the best practices. So these seminars were very well received. And again, I have to say, all the brands and most of the independent hotels have done a phenomenal job preparing their staff for anxious guests, because, you know, luxury is about choice, and not two guests are the same. One will be anxious, one will not be overly concerned, one will not be concerned at all. So service in the future will have to be much more intuitive, much more flexible than ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. I'm just going to take this opportunity to pop another poll question to people in the seminar with us. The question is going to be, should luxury hotels post their COVID-19 protocols on their websites? And the answers will be yes, somewhere very obvious. Yes, it can be more subtle. And not necessarily as we assume all measures have been, not necessary as we assume all measures have been taken. So we'll pop that poll in there now, and you can tell us what you think about that. I'm going to move on now a little bit to talk about marketing and, the right kind of thing at the right time. We mentioned there about, it's not about sending out huge videos of people being sprayed and yes, our hotel's clean. Richard, what would you say are the right kind of messages to be putting out there now? And what have your guys been doing that does seem to be getting interest to help restart luxury travel amongst their customers?
Yeah, I mean, I think more than ever, it's, thinking about your customers and what they want and, where they need, a communication or reassurance, and then, building your communications accordingly. I think the biggest messages have been about kind of, service levels. The one-to-one service that we give to our customers, is absolutely key, and that has stood us in really good stead, through the crisis. So we're obviously kind of, using that message really strongly. And the other one is it's definitely flexibility. Customers don't want to get locked into something that they can't get out of. I think that's the biggest negative for tour operators and travel agents and the airlines from this crisis has been the fact that there's been so much negative press from the consumer press, particularly about airlines, tour operators, travel agents not refunding, and customers do not want to get locked into a situation that they can't easily get out of. So we've adopted some flexibility, flexible booking conditions, and put some flexible product in front of customers through June, and the reaction has been fantastic, and I think all the tour operators out there, need to be kind of, putting, those kind of flexible conditions in place. 16 weeks before departure, balance due dates. No, thank you very much. That's not going to work. You can't change or amend anything without charges. No, that's not going to work. All that kind of, old school booking condition, tying the customer in. I mean, it needs to go. Because the market will react to that and react positively to it. So those tour operators that are putting those kind of flexible terms together, are getting support from us, obviously, because our customers like that. And it's interesting that I've seen travel agents themselves now putting their own kind of flexible kind of guarantee, peace of mind type conditions out there into the marketplace. So I think that is the key message for travel agents and tour operators right now. It's obviously really understanding your customers and what they want and communicating on that basis, and it's all about flexibility.
Yeah, so perhaps very segmented data approaches based on what you know about them, and then going out with these flexibility messages. Erin, would you say it's the same thing? You know, I'm seeing quite a few press releases coming in from operators offering flexibility, and as Richard said, narrowing of the balance due window, things
absolutely. And 99% of the respondents from our survey said that was the biggest thing. They wanted flexibility on their bookings, which is why our booking with confidence is in place. And I was just laughing to myself thinking, did Richard write ours? Because it's all those things. That is, the reduced deposits, it's the free amendments if they need to, it's the reduced weeks in terms of when the balance is due, and then it's free cancellations up to a certain point. So we really know that these things are important for guests that are booking now, and it again offers that reassurance. And then that coupled with the measures that the resorts are taking, that we're working with our partners on safety, is all packaged up to something that we feel that the guests will, and actually our guests have told us in this survey, will make their holiday experience more enjoyable for them.
Yeah. And what about that marketing message as well? Are you softly, or what sort of?
No, so we started off. This isn't the time to be ramming offers and things down people's necks. We need to be mindful of that. What I will say is that on our social media, we've not been socially distant, so we've kind of kept up. We've kept up with that, and the message has changed to one of reassurance to now one of kind of dreaming, and you could be going on holiday soon, and here's some ideas. So we're working with partners. For example, we've got something starting soon with some of our partners in Greece, like Domes, where we are kind of looking at that dreaming element. And we know that Greece is high up on the priority list of some of our customers. So we've gone to some of our key partners and said, okay, this is what we're doing, and would you like to be involved? And it's been very, very positive. And that will continue. So bearing in mind what the news might be tomorrow or not be, whatever it is, then we'll continue along that vein.
Yeah. Okay. And what sort of resources do you have for agents that could help them keep things going? And
the best resource that everyone's going to see today, and that is Simon in our head of trade partnership. So he's obviously running our seminars later. But anything that our partners need. So if they need imagery to help with some marketing, my marketing team can help put leaflets and flyers together. We're about to restart our offers that will be going out on a weekly basis, that will be pushed out via email and via our social channels. And then, of course, we have you guys to help us push those messages out. So, we're slowly starting that, but it isn't to the level that we would have done before. Certainly the funds currently aren't there, but we're doing what we can, and we will definitely help where we can. So. Yeah.
Filip, what sort of things do you think are, what marketing levels do you think hotels are at the moment? What are they feeling themselves? You have a lot of independent hotels in your family.
Well, I agree. What happens with travel advisors and tour operators should be the same in a hotel. Their policies, their cancellation policies should be completely flexible. And in most cases, they are. And I also agree that the messaging has gone from safety to dreaming. What I've also seen, because also let's not forget and have a little shout out for the incredible things that our industry has done during the lockdown for charitable causes. And I see a lot of hotels that are using that on their website rather than safety protocols. If you see Claridge's opened their doors for health workers. The Barclay did an enormous job on this drive-through for months in a row. There is companies that continue to pay the salaries for their employees, even when they were sitting at homes. And then there is thousands of complimentary room nights provided by all sorts of companies, thousands of meals provided. This should also be highlighted to the consumer, because this is a good positive message for the industry.
It's a much nicer message to talk about what people have been doing to help communities, for sure. I'm also going to introduce now Zeenat Gangee, who has come in from Mauritius Tourist Board to join us for this last section of questions. Good morning or good afternoon for you. Hello. We're just talking about we're just talking about marketing, actually. So it's a good time that you're here. And just to understand what kind of messages the tourist board is going to be putting out soon, what you see your communications as looking like. Is it kind of more emotive videos that capture the spirit of the island, or how do you see your marketing plans going forward to get people to come to Mauritius?
Well, April, to be honest, we have never stopped our communication, even if COVID struck our island a couple of months ago. What we believe is that you have to be in the mind of your consumers, and especially Mauritius is an island where we have a very strong repeater clientele. So people want to know what's happening in their favorite spots, how is it looking like on a sunshine day, or like wherever you've been, how we are preparing our island to be receiving you again. So we've had different phases. We've had a phase where we had a big campaign of Mauritius Unwavering, just showing how nature is taking time to bring back the favorite beaches and the green aspect of the island. So that has been very much well received by the trade and the consumers. So in a second phase, again on social media, we've tried to have stories from people who've been here before, whether you're a celebrity or you are just somebody who really loves the island. So it has been a gradual way of trying to capture our audience and get everyone to see what they would like to see and try to bring back that confidence in the island. And I must say, we've had a very good response for that. The third phase now is going to be when Arvind is talking about the opening of the borders. So that's where we will have clearer messages with, the sense of how things are, especially that now we have WTTC accreditation of being a safe destination.
Yeah. And I was going to talk far more about, the changes in things people might be looking for when they travel. We mentioned a little bit about private experiences. People perhaps be looking for more of that kind of private tours, private transfers. We've seen changes in Mauritius with the kind of products that your guys on the ground might offer now. You've been diversifying quite a lot over the past few years, but do you see any opportunities to do new types of tourism in Mauritius?
Yeah, and the very good thing is that we've been in that diversification for years, as you must have witnessed this yourself. This is really going to help us because Mauritius is a destination with different immersive experiences and things that you can do with your family, things that you can do, as something to self-explore and try to rediscover yourself. So there is that quiet, that aspect where you can have something in private and at the same time you can experience something in a group. So it's been there for some time, and I'm sure that we are having a few tweaks about how you kind of get back to the local life, but still be within that protocol and experience the best of it. Because it's true that you've traveled all the way to Mauritius and you just don't want to be sitting just at the beach. And much more than a beach has been a very big concept for us, and we really look forward to have this fine-tuned to welcome people again.
From my personal experience, the times I've been to Mauritius, I won't tell you how many. That chance to go into a lovely local nana's home and to see her cook a meal in the kitchen, eat some local food, and have a rum and have a sega with her. I hope we will be able to do that again, albeit with some distance in place, of course. I'm very sad to say we are coming to an end. Me, I talk about all luxury travel till I'm blue in the face. I'm just going to have a very quick look at the polls, and I can see that should luxury hotels post COVID protocols on their site? Yes, but it can be more subtle. Yes, somewhere obvious. So we're split on that. It's kind of 50-50 really. So if you're a hotelier watching, that's not very definitive for you. And the other question, are your clients worried about the in-resort experience when they get there? 8% said no, they just want to get on holiday. 60%, the highest amount, said yes, they have concerns but will travel anyway, which is quite reassuring, I guess. And yes, they won't travel because of these concerns, said 28%. So I guess there's still a third of people really want to know that those concerns can be can go away or be overcome. A huge thank you to all of our speakers for coming along. 2 lovely people from Mauritius. Richard, I can't remember where you're based, somewhere near Birmingham, I think. Erin, you want to say? How can I guess that? I can't. Filip, I think you're in London with me somewhere. Yeah. So huge thank you, guys. Do you just say goodbye to everybody?
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank